This is not a drill. This is Örebro, Sweden, February 4th, 2025. 5 lives are in danger. But the real story is more than just gunshots. At Campus Risbergska, a calm school in Örebro, students were expecting a normal day, but instead they faced terror. 4 gunshots, 5 victims, a moment that changed everything. One teacher's quick thinking, lock every door, saved many lives. But was it enough? What led to this shocking event? Who was behind it? And most importantly, could it have been prevented? Stay with me, because this is a story you need to hear. Imagine sitting in a classroom, taking notes, when suddenly, gunshots. The sound of terror. Among the victims, 5 innocent people, students, staff, people just like you and me. Some were critically injured, rushed to Örebro University Hospital as doctors fought to save them. One survivor, still in shock, whispered, "Did I pass my exam?" His mind stuck in the ordinary, even as chaos happened around him. And the shooter? A 34-year-old dropout with no big plan, no manifesto, just personal notes and unpaid bills. Why here? Why now? That was the only message he left behind. Outside, armed police swarmed the area. Helicopters circled above. Inside, students huddled in fear, hiding behind locked doors, praying to make it out alive. Even Sweden's top officials reacted in shock. Justice Minister Gunnar Strömmer called it very serious, while the Integration Minister, Mats Persson, followed the case closely. And the world? Watching, wondering, how could this happen in Sweden? At 12:30 p.m., a shooter stormed into Campus Risbergska, an adult education center in Örebro. The sound of automatic gunfire echoed through the halls. Witnesses described sheer panic, people running, screaming, desperate to escape. Police locked down not just this school, but 6 others nearby. The fear wasn't just inside one building, it spread across the entire city. But here's the shocking part. Sweden has only had 2 school shootings in the last 20 years. In contrast, the US had 288 school shootings between 2009 and 2018. During the protest, post-traumatic stress disorder developed post-traumatic stress disorder, higher than some war veterans. And Campus Risbergska? It wasn't just any school. It catered to adults over 20, many of them immigrants, some with disabilities. The students here weren't kids, but they weren't prepared for war either. And yet war came to them. On February 4, 2025, the first shots were fired at 12:30 p.m., causing panic. By 1 p.m., 5 people were confirmed wounded, and police warned the public stay away. At 2 p.m., a chilling statement was made. The danger is not over. Authorities feared possible accomplices. By 3:30 p.m., a press conference confirmed ongoing operations, but answers remained unclear. At 4:45 p.m., reports emerged that the shooter had been struggling with debt and social isolation. By 6 p.m., candlelight vigils began forming outside Örebro University Hospital. Families grieved. A nation mourned. This tragedy joins a growing history of school violence in Sweden. In March 2022, a student killed 2 teachers in Malmö. In October 2015, a masked man with a sword murdered 3 in Trollhättan. And now, Örebro. From Texas to Trollhättan, classrooms shouldn't be battlefields. Campus Risbergska sits in Vastaga, Örebro, just 200 km from Stockholm. A quiet place, a safe place, until today. Nearby schools locked down. Parents held their breath, waiting for news. The entire city stood still, unsure if the nightmare was truly over. But this isn't just about one school. It's part of a pattern. Recent violence in Malmö, Kristianstad, and Trollhättan shows that public spaces in Sweden are becoming targets. No one expected this, but maybe we should have. So why did this happen? We don't know the shooter's full story yet, but one thing is clear. This wasn't random. Some say mental health issues, some say revenge, some say something more sinister, but one fact remains. Sweden's schools aren't prepared for this kind of violence. Metal detectors? Rare. Armed guards? Almost non-existent. Emergency protocols? Not strong enough. And the cost of that? Lives on the line. Meanwhile, doctors in Sweden, more familiar with treating stab wounds than gunshot trauma, were forced to work under pressure they'd never experienced before. Now, the government is scrambling to respond. More police presence, more security talks, more thoughts and prayers. But is it enough? Because for those who were in that school, life will never be the same. So what happens now? Lockdown saved lives. Students hid in classrooms, nearby schools were evacuated. Those emergency steps worked, but they shouldn't have been necessary. Örebro University Hospital prepared for mass casualties. Doctors and nurses did their part. But should schools really be part of a battlefield? Police swarmed the area. Armed response, helicopters, forensic teams. They reacted fast. But why do we always react after the tragedy, instead of preventing it? And then there's the students, traumatized, afraid, asking impossible questions. One teacher summed it up: "We'd practiced for fires, not this." Now the investigation begins. Who was the shooter? What was the motive? And most importantly, how do we stop this from happening again? Because this can't just be another headline, another tragedy we forget in a week. We need action. This isn't just a story about Örebro. It's a warning for all of us. Because if a quiet school in Sweden, a country known for peace, can become the scene of a massacre, what does that mean for the rest of the world? We talk about change after every tragedy, but change doesn't come from words, it comes from action. Better school security, stronger mental health support, tighter laws. And when Swedish teenagers hear about bulletproof backpacks becoming a reality, they don't just feel fear, they feel outrage. Because a bulletproof backpack isn't a solution, it's surrender. Share this, discuss it, because never again starts today.